Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today with Mike Herzog, our resident engineer. How's it going today, Mike?
Always glad to be back here, David.
Yeah, we're getting started a little late here today, but that's okay. And we're going to start out talking about a dam. And this is something quite, it's not something, it's green energy, but it's not something everybody ever really argues about as being okay or not. Hydro, and it's funny to think about how much energy in this world is actually generated by hydro, because it's a lot bigger than people would think. But this enormous dam is being put in. It's called Site C. It's the dam of the century. It's in Canada. It's out in British Columbia, and it's been under construction for 10 years. And it's expected to supply renewable energy for 100 years to British Columbia. It's supposed to support 500,000 homes.
Wow.
Yeah, big operation there. They're trying to compare it to the Hoover Dam, which, you think about it, the Hoover Dam has been around for almost 100 years now.
It's been around a long time. Yeah, that was 1920s, 1930s or something.
One of their challenges building this was the fact that it gets to like minus 30 degrees Celsius there. So you can see all
the ice. Yeah.
All the ice and snow. I'd imagine at a certain point, you got ice on top, you still got the water running underneath the surface.
Yeah, I mean, there's flow underneath. It's that part of the, I guess I would say, world, since it's in Canada, is huge on hydro. I mean, it's BC Hydro is what they call the power company out there, just because they have so much of it. And yeah, if you're in a part of the world where you don't have a lot of hydro, you don't think of it. And if you're in a part of the world with a lot of hydro, you don't think about it either. But your power is dirt cheap. It just runs, and it's reliable, and it's clean. And the issue I have seen in some of that, it's like salmon and natural river flows and things like that, where across Oregon on one of their rivers, they actually deconstructed a whole bunch of dams, hydropower dams, to try to get a more natural flow across it. So I don't know. I like to fish. I also like electricity, so I get it a little bit on both sides. But
oh yeah, I've seen all the praise for getting rid of those dams in Oregon, and the Indian tribes, how thankful that their way of life returned afterwards. The dams had been destructive to their way of life, so it really there was a little more to it than just the fish. But it was that was a very unusual, I don't know, situation, I'd say, because the native peoples have completely disrupted their lives by having the dams. And it's probably the only case I've ever heard of where somebody went and took the dam out.
Yeah.
First,
they weren't
more environmental reason, right?
They weren't at end of life. I mean, they still had life in them. But yeah, for those reasons. But that's cool. I'd never heard of this project. I mean,
just sort of popped up, and I was just like, wow, that's a serious deal to power 500,000 homes. So that's what, 500 megawatts.
Yeah,
so half a gigawatt right there. Yep. That's pretty nice little level of power. So anyways, I just thought I'd cover that.
You know what, David, I appreciate you throwing me a bone like that. That's a good one. I like those projects.
All right. We've got a couple of articles today about Tuber. So, in case for those of you who don't know, Tuber is the Tesla robotaxi. It's my name for Tuber. Anyways, so apparently robotaxi service in California is just a regular taxi service. They're not approved to be autonomous, so they have to have a driver, and they're not even apparently allowed to charge for it. They're only like doing it for friends and employees of Tesla in California. So I thought that was kind of a rather unusual. They're only, supposedly they're only doing like 10 or 20 cars around Austin, Texas as well, but they're trying to do something in San Francisco.
Basically a carpool. You can carpool to work.
More or less. Yeah. So they're employing some people to haul people around, and then when it becomes autonomous, they're going to just lay those people off. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe they're using some former Twitter uh, personnel to drive
Yeah.
cars around.
Like that's been such a joke. Like, I guess I'll go drive an Uber. Like, well, here you go.
Yeah, except
Go
that's
drive
going
a Uber
away.
until you
Yeah.
get downsized.
Um,
I'm always excited about the Tesla Uber stuff, just because the long term vision of it is really cool. It's really cool, and if it ends up where it's you can have your car parked in your garage, and if you want to enable taxi mode, just
mhm.
it goes out and drives through the day or the night without you, and then comes home at night and parks and charges itself. Like, that's, to me, that's a very, very cool concept. A
You
lot of
know,
execution, but cool.
I'm always seeing all these things about AI, about how I'm creating my AI employees and they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's like, yeah, I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I could certainly let my car go out and do some work. And, you know,
Yeah.
maybe I could get my lawnmower to go mow some people's yards. I don't
Or
know.
it's, the parents asking me, hey, can we get a ride to the airport at 4 a.m? Like, sure,
I'll
I'll
send
send
my
the
car.
car. Just the
It'll have,
car.
I'll send a picture with a picture of me on the dash.
Yeah, I'll tape a picture on
Put a nice note.
the human touch. Gotta have the
Yeah,
human touch on
put a
it.
nice note. Um, well, this one's kind of funny. We're still on the subject of tuber. Elon Musk scoffs as rival Waymo plows through car while driving wrong way down the street. And the funny thing is, apparently, the robo taxis in Austin did the same thing. So I don't know. There's these constant arguments between the photo or camera sensors on the Tesla and the LiDAR on Waymo and some of the others.
Mhm.
And um, in theory, LiDAR makes more sense,
Yeah.
but not sure that it's really in the real world being. It's one of Musk's things is that there really isn't that much of a difference. Um,
At some point, they're doing about the same thing, right? I mean, it's LiDAR's building an image of the environment through the radar aspect, and then pictures is just digitizing it and building the same digital model out of it. It's just kind of
Essentially,
coming out from different directions.
Musk was quoted, "But what do I know about technology?" And it's like when I talk about the people arguing with us on YouTube about stuff, it's like, you guys don't know anything. It's like, really? Are you?
What do we know? Yeah.
Oh. I've had a couple people legitimately that I figure are probably in a similar job as you,
Mhm.
or have been, and that have gotten on and been talking about getting really deep in the weeds on electrical math of transmission, like over mountains,
Yeah.
and how much loss you'd have and all of that. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy knows his electrical math. This guy, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. They can
but
talk.
I still don't know if though they know the definition of a Hummer being 200 kilowatt hours. Yeah, some of these things I'm trying to get into common speech. We needed a unit of measure for 200 kilowatt hours, and it's going
Size
to
of
be
a
called
Hummer
the Hummer.
battery. Yeah.
Yeah, um, but yeah, I've caught myself though when people are saying the size of storage in kilowatt hours. I've been
Mhm.
dividing it by 100 and thinking that as Tesla long ranges. How many Tesla long ranges
Long
would
ranges, does
that
that
be?
fit
Yeah,
into? That's cool.
yeah, yeah. But that doesn't have the ring that
The
a Hummer.
Hummer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like like I've said before about that stupid SNL video, we fought for the rights to weights and measures. We're going to measure everything by the most. It's like when people ask me what size are those nuclear facilities going to be. It's right about the size of a football field. It's
Just,
perfect.
it's universal. It's a universal
Although I
measurement.
have heard it described as a soccer pitch as
A
well.
soccer, so a little bit bigger
We
than a
need a
football.
little bit bigger. Yeah. Yeah. And then people have to think in European terms,
Yeah, yeah.
for an American unit of measurement. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought it was really funny that Musk was kind of mocking Waymo when they've certainly had the same kind of issues. Obviously it's not perfect, but when they have less accidents than humans do,
Mhm.
you know, you see crazy stuff just with people driving the wrong way, people going the wrong way on an exit. I've seen people passing on single lane off ramps.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see just crazy stuff all the time with humans, and it's like, yeah, the computer screwed up something. And it's
It
like that's
screws
not
up, but it
really.
doesn't have that crazy human element of the wild card. Like
Mm-mm.
I can do everything I can, but sometimes people are just nutty out there when they're driving to save
All right.
17 seconds.
All right. So here's the biggest news article I saw this morning. Tesla has signed a $4.3 billion battery deal with LG. And in order to, which is a Korean company, in order to reduce their reliance on Chinese companies.
I think
LG
LG
Energy
is one of the
Solutions.
biggest battery manufacturers in the world, aren't they? And it's
Yeah,
not
they are.
necessarily the big stuff. It's like the cell phone batteries and all the little things. I think
Yeah,
they're
a lot
huge
of,
in that market.
and it's not actually clear if this is for energy storage or if it's actually for the cars
For the
themselves, but they are
vehicles.
LFP batteries.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's 4.3 billion over 3 years. They didn't identify what customer it's for, saying if they'd be using vehicles
Oh, okay.
or energy storage. But anyways, I thought that was a pretty
That's big.
remarkable
Yeah.
deal in the space at the moment. Um, in the U.S., in charging infrastructure, as far as the actual chargers,
Mhm.
the most common hardware supplier behind Tesla is a company that's only been around a year called Alpatronic.
Alpatronic?
ALPI Tronic.
Okay.
They're the second largest charging hardware supplier behind Tesla, according to data from charging analytics firm Perrin. That was,
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna Google
they
this.
account for 12% of US public fast charging stations deployed in 25, second only to Tesla, which had 36%, but ahead of ChargePoint and BTC Power. But
Wow.
this is the hardware suppliers, not the
Yeah, yeah.
network.
It's just the hardware. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And just out of the blue, this company came around and,
Well, I mean,
started providing that.
iron's hot right now. I mean, it's big. Yeah, I'm looking through. I mean, they've got a lot of clients. Cool. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, today was the first time I'd heard of them as well. But like I'm saying, apparently a year ago they had no revenue. So that's really kind of shocking how they went from that to second only to Tesla.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Especially like I heard you mention ChargePoint in there and some of those others. Although I guess ChargePoint does have their own hardware. They have their own, but maybe this is just every third party. Like I just need a charger, um, and throw it out there like this. Go get this. Like a random gas station wants to put in a fast charger, they'll go this model.
Eh,
Recharge.
Bill posted something kind of random on the site about Ford. So Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, said they've got a problem that young people don't want to work for $17 an hour wages because it's leaving them stressed out. But apparently these are mostly temporary workers, and they've decided to make them all full time because apparently part of it was they're working for Ford and then they're having to go work other jobs
Have
because
to
they
go
were.
do another job on the same thing.
Yeah, and so they're trying to make an effort to take all of what was all the temporary workers and make them full-time employees for Ford. I
Okay.
don't know if that's actually going to improve wages or not, but it
Or
probably
just give
does,
them a full
has some other benefits for
salary.
them as well.
Huh.
Yeah, just kind of a random
Boy, if
piece there.
I was young in that position, like hold on to those jobs. I mean, those are insulated from any AI or technology. If you're working on a line or working on manufacturing.
All right. So when we're thinking about solar panels we don't normally think about them as a mural, right? So
I
apparently
have
people,
seen some of the Chinese ones. Some of the Chinese,
yeah.
they're pretty good.
So Canada is home to the
Canada.
world's largest solar panel mural, a bold vision for the future. Whatever. Somebody needed a tagline, right?
I'm pretty sure AI came up with that tagline. That was a chat GPT.
It does sound like it,
Oh,
but
that's cool. I
yeah,
no,
I
I have
gotta,
not seen that.
yeah. This is the latest thing, but this is a building that was remodeled. It was originally built in the 70s, and the entire building is covered in solar panels.
So they just have
And
like thin film paint on them, or I don't know. That's kind of cool.
yeah, and so here's the before,
Uh-huh.
and here's the after. I mean, it's a strikingly better look.
It's sharp. I see. I was thinking when you said that, like I know in China they've done like the panels are actually aligned in a shape, like they have a giant panda solar panel facility. I think Disney has one that's like the maybe the big Epcot ball, or it says Disney or something like that with the solar panels, not actually like a mural on the side of a building.
Yeah, it says it's got 34,500 square feet of building integrated photovoltaic panels.
Huh.
Um, yeah, just kind of a,
That's cool. I didn't know. I've never seen that. I didn't know you could do that.
yeah, completely different look. But it's 85 feet tall. Um, it honors First Nations and Chinese cultures via depictions of the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac, living in harmony with the 7 animals that symbolize the Cree sacred grandfather teachings.
It's
Oh,
deep,
well.
man. I just thought it was
Yeah.
like a nice prairie picture.
Yeah. I thought it was, that's kind of what I
I
was thinking.
saw bison on there, and it's like, all right, there you go.
Yeah. Um, all right. Let's see what's next today. Got kind of just a hodgepodge of little articles. Some of these, um, somebody was posting something on LinkedIn that I thought was kind of an interesting thing. That's kind of showing all the areas that Tesla is trying to combine together under one company. And this makes Tesla kind of an interesting piece from the combination of, you think of the car, of the electric car and the electric truck, but then you go around, we have superchargers. Here we have the supercharger. It's not spelled right, supercharger. And the power wall, home batteries, AI and robotics, solar roofs, renewable energy. A lot of people don't know about how much Tesla does in the way of like battery farms and solar
Yeah,
and other renewables, but most of that's overseas. It's not as much in the United States.
I had heard quoted, and I don't have a reason to disbelieve it yet, but in the long terms, Tesla might be more remembered as a battery company. That they were the ones who really the power walls and the grid storage that they've done wonders with electric vehicles, but the stuff they're doing in the battery space right now is really being impactful. And it's kind of behind the scenes because it's not as flashy or as prevalent as Tesla's driving down the road or a Cybertruck, but holy cow, is that a powerful arm of their business?
We did a story a few weeks ago about a couple of companies who were um, collecting old EV batteries and using them for grid storage. Got another one today. California-based B2U Storage Solutions has a battery storage facility east of San Antonio that's powered exclusively by EV batteries. And it's their third grid storage site, but the first in Texas. It'll have 24 megawatts of capacity and plug directly into San Antonio's energy distribution systems. It'll repurpose around 500 end-of-life battery packs. I think I saw that it's mostly Honda and Nissan battery packs.
Honda.
Yeah, which I
wouldn't think there'd be too many surplus of those out there, but
yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting part of that because it's like Honda.
was this the article a couple of weeks ago where they were just all sitting out in the field and all that? plastic
No,
bags over them to
yeah,
keep the rain
the boat
off.
we talked about then, these guys look like they have their act together a little better.
Okay. It's at least looks a
Yeah,
little
oh,
uniform in buildings, things like that.
well, they at least put like a little screen over it so it doesn't look
Okay.
so, you know, ghetto like the other one did.
The other one was a little rough. It
Yeah,
looked like a big salvage yard.
it looked kind of almost like they don't look like a cemetery almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This looks moderately better. You know, probably
Mhm.
not going to win any awards for design like the building in Canada, but it's still something, right? Um, so I got some. I don't know if this is good news, bad news,
Oh,
sideways news, but um, this is about the 10 used cars with the 10 biggest price drops in the past year. Now, you can look at this two ways. So, one of these is here's some cars that there's some great opportunities to go buy one.
mhm.
Another one is it sucks if maybe you were one of the people that owned one of these. Um, but these were the cars that lost the most, had the biggest price drop in the past year. And the Model S and the Model X and the Model Y were the top three. And some of that could be just the political stuff, people selling them off. But I mean, one was 15.8%, one was 15.5, and one was 13.6, which are pretty big average depreciation numbers
Mhm.
for these.
What's the see, I wonder what the price of those new ones are and if they're just cannibalizing themselves a little bit where it's like, well, I can just go get a brand new one.
Yeah, well, the average used Model X, it dropped down to
Okay.
51,884. That's still not that super cheap, right? The Model Y dropped down to 29,000. So we're still not a very cheap price. What's interesting, the Tesla Model 3 dropped to 25,132, which, we've talked about
Still
that.
above
Most of them are
25.
actually going to that 25,000 mark.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I thought that was it. But there's some non-pure EVs. There's a Ford Explorer Hybrid that was the number
Mhm.
4. Jeep Gladiator was number
That's
5.
their truck, right? That's got
Yeah,
the pickup bed.
yeah. Apparently the average used one's about 34,000. I mean, the average new one's like 65.
Yeah, that's an expensive vehicle.
Yeah. Got the Maserati Levant on here, which that's not a surprising one. The Porsche Taycan, which is also an EV, is on here, but it's like the average used one is $78,000. I mean, that's a big difference. I'm
Yeah.
actually surprised it didn't have like the Mercedes EQS,
What
whether it be the SUV or the sedan, because they both are kind of like it. But it also has the Chrysler Voyager and the Lincoln Aviator on here. The average EV loses about 4.8% in the past year.
mm,
Oh, but the average ICE vehicle lost 5.2%.
5.2%.
Yeah, so people are always talking about how EVs depreciate more.
Mhm.
Well, but it's hard to say. I mean, it's like the Tesla Model Y probably greatly outsold all these other cars, right?
Yeah.
So is that weighted into this number? It doesn't really tell us that,
It's
but
hard to say.
I'm just saying that that's you know, one of the pieces of that. All right. Um, Here was something on the topic of green energy and AI. So, Blackstone wants to pair gas power plants with data centers, while Microsoft is reviving a nuclear reactor, and Trump's budget cuts are sidelining solar and storage. So, one of the things is obviously the energy needs are not going down, right?
Mhm.
AI is just making it worse and worse. A company called Talon Energy just spent 3.8 billion to acquire two massive gas plants to feed AI growth. The CEO called it the fastest and cheapest way to power the boom. Now, to be fair, LNG isn't, it's not that it's fairly comparable in price to solar and wind, right?
Mhm.
It's not a big difference. But solar,
It's
wind, and storage generate the same electrons, and they can do it faster, cheaper, and cleaner. Um,
The big difference is when we're talking AI and data centers is natural gas is dispatchable.
mhm.
You can, if you have to turn it on, it will turn on in those moments when you need it. So that's the other thing that factors into all of it. It's I have an on switch. I can turn it on and off when I really, really need to have it go. You don't have to.
I think that's one of the tough things for people to acknowledge sometimes in the green energy space is that you have to have some kind of base load power in some way. And I know
Mhm.
I've told you about one of my friends trying to get a financing for a manufacturing facility, and the bank was adamant that there was zero fossil fuels being used to power the plant.
Really?
Had to be entirely renewable, and they expected to use less than 0.5% of their power needs as being LNG,
Wow.
and the rest was all going to be um, solar and battery storage. And um, nope, it
Yeah.
disqualified them. So now they're looking at nuclear.
So it's 0.5% disqualified them.
Yep, it
That's
couldn't. It
crazy.
had to be zero.
Zero had to be zero.
Yep, and so that was. But this is an international deal, not a U.S. deal.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
U.
say like U.S. side, like, ooh, what bank wouldn't finance that? I mean, that's
Right, right, right.
would
But
get
out
off
of the
the
EU,
oh,
they're a
EU.
lot more
Okay.
strict
Okay.
on this stuff. Um, it's interesting. Europe sees a lot of the topics we talk about through a completely different lens.
Mhm.
And Asia does as well. We talk about how some of the countries like India and China are leading the path to green energy. And at the same time, they're also leading at increasing coal production, and some of that gets, you know, it's just the nature. It's a different world, right?
Mhm.
And they're really just trying to catch up with U.S. energy use, and they're doing everything they can to possibly catch up. Um, this one group called the Rhodium Group says Trump's budget law will eliminate about 60% of the clean power capacity we would have built over the next 10 years. That's a pretty
That's
big
a big
drop
number.
in
That's a big number.
clean energy.
Well,
Um,
especially I mean, everybody's gobbling up every electron they can from generation right now. So it's just going to make it more scarce out there.
I think the biggest thing is people not understanding battery storage. And man, everybody seems to think that there's just huge problems with wind.
Mhm.
I mean, you're in that space. I mean, do you really see big problems with wind?
I think we've figured a lot of it out. It was a shock to the system about 10 or 15 years ago because so much of
Mhm.
it came on so fast.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think from like a modeling and integration standpoint, it is interesting. The industry's gone switched back to solar or switched to solar as its renewable plant of choice because it
Mhm.
complements wind a little bit better. But boy, wind's not a bad thing out there. Where it's hit the backlog right now is just transmission capacity. Like you want to put these wind, like we live in Nebraska, you want to put these wind farms in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, on the high plains where it's windy every day. Well, those electrons have to get to Omaha, to Des Moines, to Chicago, to Indianapolis, places like that. So it's still just transmission expansion is really what's kind of kneecapped wind production at this point because it's the middle of nowhere where you want them. Yeah, it's windy and it's flat and they're there. There's not a lot of people out there.
No, no, it's just interesting to see though, because I see, the arguments about how whales are washing up on the beach because they're going crazy, or
Yeah,
different things criticizing wind, and I'm just like, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that the wind turbines are
I mean
messing with the whales, but it's like
there
it's a
are there
weird
are.
argument, right?
I'm not going to argue. I'm not. I don't think it's the whale thing, but I think that's a lot of it comes down to just the visual appeal. Like people don't want to stare at these things. Like I moved out here to this neck of the woods to have a beautiful unobstructed view, and now I see a big oscillating blade and all the lights blink at night and do all of that. And I mean, I think that's really what a lot of it comes down to.
But I mean, in our area, most of them are. You don't see them till you're going down the freeway, and you're like
Yeah.
20, 30 miles out of town,
Mhm.
right? So it's not like you're having to look at it every day from home.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I think some of it is I don't know. It's just a weird argument, and it some of it drives me a little bit crazy. All right. Well, folks, today we're doing just a short show. There will be no show tomorrow because I'm traveling. And so I'll be back with Bill on Tuesday. And otherwise, Mike, thanks for today. And folks, thanks for watching.